Got annoyed about a group of men I don't know bingoing me, so I gave them something to be uncomfortable about. Bumped into a friend in a bar and he took me over to his table to introduce me to his friends and family. All men, some much older. I sat with them for a drink to be polite. One of them, from nowhere, asked me if I have kids. No, I say, I'm 37. He looks shocked and asks again, as if I misheard the conversation. No, I say. That's a shame, he says. Not for me it isn't, I say. I don't want children. Oh, you'll change your mind. They all start to chime in. It's different when it's your own, but I don't want my own. I repeat again sternly. Keep in mind, I don't know these people, and I am the only woman at the table surrounded by men. What would happen if you got pregnant? One guy says. It would be different then. Like, seriously, guys? How freaking invasive is this? So without missing a beat, I say, oh, I've been pregnant. Didn't change anything, got rid of it. Then went into graphic detail about the abortion process. Some of them were eating, for what it's worth. They got incredibly uncomfortable, but I carried on. They shut the frick up and changed the conversation straight after that. Regarding, that's a shame, he says. I sometimes look at those people and realize they're not talking about me. They're talking about their own lives. Those comfortable with their decisions don't feel the urge to seek out affirmations from others. If you're not having kids and others aren't, then it's a viable option, one they haven't considered. And they're being forced to consider this alternative now, when it's too late to reverse it. I often wonder how many people are unhappy about ever having kids. I see a lot of posts on social media that start with, I love my child, but it's so taboo to say this. Perhaps they just have to project their default choice onto you to justify them. I won't pretend to read minds, but some of these people might be walking among us and using bingo cliches in social situations like the above. Most of them, I think. Also, a lot of these guys don't really do the hard work. I was listening to them talk about how they go home to quote-unquote play with their kid. Then they're back out in the bar again most nights. No wonder having kids is quote-unquote no big deal to them. I'd have kids too if I could play with one for an hour and then frick off to a bar until 3 a.m. to flirt with people. Spot on. I used to work for a very, very big IT company you all heard of. The team leader used to arrange many late night quote-unquote meetings in strip clubs and bars, and men with kids were thrilled to just get out of the house. There were lots of business travel, supposedly for super important purposes, but really just to get some guys off baby duty. I get the feeling people have kids just because that's what they're supposed to do, and don't fully comprehend the extent of the responsibility. Firstly, that's so gross. Secondly, absolutely this. Or to quote-unquote save the relationship. Quote, it's different when it's your own, end quote, is one of my favorite ones to reply to. Sometimes it's not different when it's your own. Some, cough cough, 1 in 9, women get postpartum depression and are unable to bond with their children the same way that women who don't get postpartum depression can bond with theirs. Some of these women feel like, quote, I know that it's my child and that I'm supposed to feel in love and excited, but I can't seem to connect with the child, end quote. An actual quote from one of my best friends who went through severe postpartum depression. So no, it's not, quote, different when it's your own, end quote, for everyone. For some people, it's exactly the same as a random child that you have no connection with. I already suffer from severe depression. Definitely don't need to throw the additional possibility of postpartum depression with it. And that's the thing, I don't want kids for a bunch of reasons, but one big fear is the fear of freaking up another person's life. It's so freaking irresponsible to have kids because of how you think it will make you feel, but not think about whether you're capable of making them happy. Exactly. I find it hilarious when people try to say that child-free people are selfish for not wanting kids. If anything, parents are the selfish ones. If they were ever asked why they have kids, their response would be, quote, because I want them, end quote. So pretty much they choose to bring someone in this world simply because, quote unquote, I want one. Yet somehow child-free people are the selfish ones? Exactly. I'm child-free because I'm not sure if I'd be a good parent, but I'm far from a selfish person. Maybe they assume we're incapable or unwilling to care for anything but ourselves, forgetting that pets, friends, other people, etc. exist. I mean, wanting to bring a child into the world is a better reason than bringing an unwanted child into the world. If you care about them regardless of their outcome, I think that's the best way to go into parenthood. Obviously, I'm not interested in being a parent myself, but some people really want that life. I disagree on account of narcissism. I'm just saying I want a child is a better situation than an unwanted child. People that think they're super amazing and want another version of themselves make me feel weird for sure. I aspire to be like you. I do make people uncomfortable with my status, don't get me wrong. But going into detail about your abortion to a group of strangers, you are my hero. I'll do that next time. I was 14 when I had mine, after being coerced into intimacy. So it'll make them even more awkward and hopefully ashamed of themselves. I'm so sorry to hear this happen to you. Hope you're thriving in the face of evil. And yeah, keeping a straight face and matter of fact describing the entire process really added to their discomfort. If you want to push for invasive conversations that are none of your business, I'll give you more than you would bargain for. Shrug. I am. Thank you for your empathy. And I so love your attitude. I've described in detail how your crotch may rip all the way down to your booty hole during childbirth. Had several friends go through this. Oh, and you will definitely crap while pushing out your little quote-unquote miracle. Nothing shuts them faster than hearing about the grueling reality of childbirth and pregnancy. That's our last. That's a victory. They thought they'd be able to embarrass you and treat you like all the women they're used to, only good for making babies. Make no mistake, they were making a power move on you with that conversation and thought they'd get away with trying to flirt if possible. They weren't expecting you to turn that crap around and shut them all up. Good for you. Yeah, they were very much reducing me to my quote-unquote sole purpose in life. And yes, pervasively, they were trying to be flirtatious with it too. The idea that they'd know how a woman should feel when she's pregnant too. LMAO, when I found out I was pregnant, I was filled with dread and fear. I'm gonna be real and say it did upset me to have an abortion, but aside from knowing I'm not maternal, my partner was extremely abusive, and I knew unquestionably I could not bring a child into this world that would be tied in some capacity to a monster I was trying to get away from. That's not fair on anyone. I'm sorry, that's awful. I hope you're doing much better now. Thank you, much better for sure. Sadly, he has a kid now, a daughter, and I feel so sad for her. Keep an eye on her and contact CPS if you see any signs of abuse. We live in different countries now, but I check his social media every so often with exactly this intention. Amazing! Do you reckon the main reason some of these men hate the idea of women not wanting babies so much is because it makes them realize that we literally don't need them for anything? They must know at this point that other than sperm, there's nothing they can give which we can't get from elsewhere. They have to feel needed. I think that's a part of it. Also, the country I'm stuck in during COVID, women don't have ambitions beyond looking hot and getting a husband to buy them a house and a new car every year. They pop out a kid, their family helps raise it, and they pay frick all money to some immigrant nanny they treat like crap. Men go out getting drunk together, perving on other women. Everyone has affairs. They don't understand why I as a woman would rather live quote unquote like them, hanging out in bars and swearing and playing backgammon with the men, rather than tottering around at home in heels and hair extensions and a baby. It doesn't occur to them that there's another way. That's so grim. I can't imagine being so blinkered that I couldn't see why people wouldn't find that a desirable option, even if that's just what they're used to. I fully support any woman's choice to be a housewife if that's what she wants, but the idea of doing it myself just turns my stomach. Same, but I'm not convinced how happy the women here are either. They ignore the kids a lot. Zero discipline. They have as many affairs as the men do. They spend all their time at the gym or hair salon or plastic surgeon. Kids being raised by tired old grandparents or hired help that don't speak the language. The kids are mostly spoiled and badly behaved because the parents are crappy, vain, and neglectful. Whole thing makes my stomach turn, honestly. Which is also why I'm not worried about making people uncomfortable here, cause they already think I suck anyway for being an outsider. That sounds miserable and exhausting on every single level. This may be overly optimistic of me, but maybe seeing you will help some women realize how unhappy they are and recognize what they want to do. I know that's unlikely because of years of conditioning, but you never know. I hope you're able to get out of the country soon and go somewhere nicer, assuming you want to leave as you mentioned you're stuck there.